Welcome to In Focus, the Kepler video podcast series where we deep dive into some of the most exciting, most relevant topics in the industry with some experts in the industry. I'm here with Kristina Fields. Kristina, welcome on the show.
Michael, that was quite the setup.
I guess we'll call this a show. It's the first episode, the first time we're running through this. So our goal today is to deep dive and put one topic in focus. Today we are going to be putting retail media in focus, a topic I know that you are passionate, have a ton of expertise in. But first, I'd love to just dive into what is your role, and also curious what energizes you about working in the marketing industry.
Every single day is completely different,
Yes.
I will say. I think that it is incredibly fast-paced. You can have a bunch of different skills and really be a successful professional within this career. And it's a really fun, energetic industry where I've met so many incredible, interesting people.
Yes, absolutely. I would be curious. So you are currently now at Hasbro.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your career and how you kind of progressed into this role.
I started in the magazine industry buying print advertising, which, as I think we can all agree, has diminished since those early aughts. And then from there really got into digital media, working on some really large clients like Macy's. I worked on a lot of fashion and beauty business within the LVMH portfolio. And then, I say like my career kind of progressed with my life choices. So then I was at Kate Spade, which was really fun with handbags and purses. And then I started a family and kind of ended up at Hasbro. So I guess progressed always within digital, always within paid advertising. But I have to say that it's been a really fun journey to date.
Your career has progressed. The industry has progressed.
It has.
And that brings us to our topic at hand.
Yes.
Retail media marketing,
Yeah.
retail media. I'd love to kind of just hear from you on why this is so important, what it is. It's kind of exploded in the last couple of years, and not everyone might have full context on what those terms mean.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest learning curves of just kind of embracing Hasbro was just a lot of the nuances that come along with advertising to kids. It's incredibly limited in terms of how you can advertise, obviously just based upon safety being paramount. So within that, you're somewhat restricted in the types of tactics that you do from a brand advertising perspective, because primarily we do target kids. As it relates to performance retail, it's kind of like the Wild West because it's adults. So it really does provide a ton of opportunity, a ton of, additional, more nuanced experiences as it relates to just conversion tracking. And you really can understand if you put $1 in kind of what you're getting out, which, for someone who's a little bit more transactional, I like that. So it's been a very good, interesting progression while I've been at Hasbro, having focused the first part of my career, having been there at 8 years, primarily a lot of it in terms of just kid advertising. But within the past 2 years, I'd say that my team has been focusing on more of the conversion tactics. And specifically, we've been able to unlock a ton of opportunity just as it relates to how we partner with retailers, because not only obviously are we customers, but we're also, Amazon is, one of the largest media partners. So we have a lot of things that we're able to unlock with them and, craft these programs from the ground up that really help bring all of our immersive brands to life.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful that the same marketplaces that brands are able to sell, that Hasbro is able to sell, you're also now able to advertise and be able to take that, kind of that engaged consumer that's thinking about purchasing and kind of give them that last little bit of a nudge across the finish line.
It's exactly that. And truly, if you think about just, again, like the transformation of just the industry as a whole, we know that for a fact, obviously the data supports it, that people actually research their gift buying now on these sites before. Before it'd be like, gift guides, and it's kind of, reading those types of things that you would get served up on a magazine or in a newspaper of some kind, which obviously is no more. But now people are actually going on Amazon, Walmart, and Target and reading these reviews and deciding what they're going to purchase for their families.
I'm glad you just noted the number of retailers.
Yes.
I had initially just mentioned Amazon.
Yes.
But there is Walmart.
Yes.
There is Target.
Yeah.
There are probably 5 to 10 to 15 to 20
Chick-fil-A
more.
just had created their own retailer network not that long ago.
I find that hard to believe. I don't know how that works, but it could be the next big thing that Hasbro is leveraging.
Who knew? Everyone likes chicken.
So as everything is evolving in this industry, these opportunities are coming up. How do you navigate innovating, testing into some of these new opportunities with leveraging what you know works?
I think one of the things that we tend to do at Hasbro is put them all together as, retail media networks. But truthfully, every single partner within those three offers us something different. And the way that you transact on those sites is incredibly different. And the types of technology that is offered is incredibly different. So I think for us, it's really kind of leaning into what every single retailer is good at, and where those customers are. Like, for example, like the suite of just technology and insights that we're able to glean from Amazon is incredibly rich in so much that you really can't get elsewhere. Walmart, we know that shopper, it's still, they're not necessarily completely on Walmart.com as it relates to transacting. It's still a super in-store purchase. So it's really how we are making sure that we're showing up there in the relevant space. Perhaps it's not as large as we are in the others, but that makes sense for that partner. Target, I think, is an interesting one. We've actually seen that kind of the more that we invest, the more they're able to get out. But there is definitely a scale issue. So across all of them, it's making sure that we're investing our dollars in a way that makes sense for our audience, but also making sure for kind of how that consumer is shopping on that specific destination.
So we've been speaking on retail media and kind of honing in on the aspect where you're engaging with the consumer at the last moment.
Yeah.
Or you're engaging with the consumer while they're pretty far down the funnel in their purchase decision making. Do you consider retail media purely a performance play?
I think if you think of it specifically as a single channel, yes. But how we like to think of it is brandformance, in the sense of brand media fuels performance, performance fuels brand. And that's when we're able to see the best return at Hasbro. Obviously, if you look at it at a single channel, you can see some pretty, strong results because it's obviously always optimizing. But again, when we're going to see that total brand lift on an entire, like a brand halo, it's when you see the two working together, which is always, practice what we preach here.
I love it. We are putting this topic in focus, and we are on the final question. Question number 4. Where do you see this industry going? We've talked so much about how it's constantly evolving. How are you thinking about and trying to predict on what the future holds for this?
I think that if I had to look into a crystal ball, I think that the creative opportunities within performance retail are going to be explosive in the upcoming years, because I truly do believe that performance started as products, product images, right? But now within Amazon, there's so much that we can tap into as it relates to video, as it relates to just immersive placements within the site. If you're scrolling down a page, there are so many different, I think I forgot the stat, but up to like 16, maybe even more paid advertisements on a page. It's become incredibly immersive. So for me, I would say that it just become so much more dynamic and so much more customizable, because consumers have learned to expect that whatever they see is customized to their and tailored to their liking.
I think that just about puts a cap on it. I think
We did it.
that we have put retail media networks in focus. I think we've explained any and everything that the world needs to know, that marketers need to know. Kristina, thank you for joining us today on the podcast. It was great. It was super fun. Thank you.
Welcome.